Hello, everyone. I'm Michael, and this is episode 2 of my technology learning series. It's been a long time since I had technology learning series. The last one I did was on a Roku player, so I encourage you to check that out in my YouTube channel. But today I wanted to talk about Gmail and Google and all things Google, because I feel like a lot of people haven't connected the dots on what all Google products are. Now, I obviously realize that there are a lot of folks out there that know exactly what Google is and what it does and all the features that that it has. And if that's the case, this video is not for you. But for a lot of folks out there that don't understand how Google works, I'm going to get into some of the meat and potatoes of how Google syncs across both your phone, your tablet if you have one, your computer if you have one, and then also your smart TVs throughout the house if you have those. And so I'll get into it. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen here. Let me just hang on just one second. Let's do that. So obviously this is Google here. I'm going to move myself here. And so this is obviously Google's page when you come to it. Now, it doesn't look the same for everybody, because if you haven't signed in, then over here in the right-hand corner, there's going to be a spot for you to sign in. And, if you don't have a Gmail account, you can certainly create one. They're easy to create. But let's just talk about Google itself. Google's a search engine that's been around since around 2000, I think, maybe a little bit before that, but it really didn't get, started really well until the early 2000s. And it's a search engine mainly. That's what it started out as. It's obviously grew into way more. And so I wanted to talk about that. So the G in Gmail stands for Google. I actually went ahead and pulled that up for you so you can see that Google's very popular free web-based email service, which is supported by their Google search engine, who owns Android, so Google is actually the one who created the Android operating system. It was developed by them, and it's used by mostly Samsung, Sony, LG, and some others. But by and large, if you have a Samsung Galaxy, it's an Android phone. So if you have an Android phone, it's pretty safe to say that essentially you have a Google phone. And so obviously for all the Apple users, this video is not for you. I'll probably make a Apple video, but for now we're just concentrating on all things Google. So I want to go back to the other screen here. And if you look right here, there's these dots right here, and I like to call them the Hollywood Squares dots, because it reminds me of an old TV show called the Hollywood Squares, and it has all the dots, and it kind of looks like the Hollywood Squares. So if you click on that, you're gonna see like all the different services that Google has. And if you're already signed in, then you are synced up across all these different services. So for example, if I was to open Maps up, it would show all the places that I have been using Google Maps. And let's just, for example, open up my photos. If we open up my photos, I don't have anything to hide. So here's my exciting photos that I've been taking, and they're right there. Now, these are not necessarily on my phone. They're on Google servers. And so when I take a picture, my phone automatically uploads it into Google's cloud, because my phone is signed in to Google. And if you look right here, here is my storage space, and I pay extra for more storage because, obviously I create content and things like that. So this is my storage space here. And then, it has some of my memories and highlights. But these are the pictures that I've been taking. And so I can go back over here and I can go to my YouTube. So if I click on YouTube, then I can actually go to my channel here, where I got, an episode pulled up from my 11 Reasons Why, uh, where I did a little show where I asked small business owners 11 reasons why they started. And so if I click on this and I'm 45 seconds into it and I click on it and I click play, then there it is right there. But then if I take my phone here and I've got it opened up and I hit play, it's gonna come right back to the same exact spot.
Raised in a little town called Athens, Tennessee, about 60 miles.
I can pause it right there, and then when I come back to this and hit play, it's right there at the same spot. So it syncs across all your devices and keeps you in the same place. So you could start it on your phone, then finish it on your TV or your tablet, and vice versa. So, but you have to be signed in on each device. So every device that you want to have that synchronization, you need to be signed in on. And so it's important to have obviously your Gmail email address and your password. And then when you sign into those devices, of course, when you sign into those devices, of course, it's going to ask you for verification, right? Because you don't want just anybody signing into your Google. So it's going to ask you for, a password, and then it'll probably send like a notification to your phone saying, hey, this, Samsung Galaxy tablet is wanting to gain access to your Google account. And then there's some security steps depending on your two-step authorization or what have you. So that's, YouTube, Google, and all things. There's so many different things that Google offers, but I really feel like that there's a disconnect because people will not be signed in on their phone to YouTube, and they're watching YouTube videos, but they're not signed in, and then or they're signed in on their phone, but they're not signed in on their televisions. And to be honest, if you're not watching YouTube on your TV, you're missing out, because you can subscribe to all the different content creators that are out there. And there's literally tens of thousands, if not millions of content creators out there. And you can follow all your favorite people. And of course, there's commercials, but there's commercials on anything. I mean, there's probably even going to be a commercial at some point on my content if I get successful enough. But anyway, that's what I wanted to share, is go back to sharing my screen again here, is I wanted to, really just kind of pinpoint that, if you just go to Google and you go to what I call the Hollywood squares, then you're going to see all the different things. So Google Docs is the same thing as it's Google's answer to Microsoft Word. So if you don't have Microsoft Office, you can sign in to Google and use Google Docs, and then it'll just pull up and you can just do like a resume. These are just generic things. So you could just click a blank, document, and then go ahead and start typing, this is a test. There you go. So there's a word, and it's very similar to, Word and the way Microsoft Word looks like. You can go ahead and click print and print that document, or save it as an attachment, which, so there's, or insert a link or whatever you need to do there. So, and that's just the Google Docs part of it. So if you go back again and you click on Google, and if you lose your place, that's why I keep talking about these Hollywood squares. You just go back to that and then find what you were working on and get back to it. Google Sheets is Excel. It's the equivalent of Microsoft Excel, and then Google Hangouts is basically similar to Zoom, which is what I'm actually using to film this. So You obviously have Google Earth. Some of these you'll have to download on your computer in order for them to work. But again, once you're signed in, your calendar, your maps, even your contacts. So if you have an Android phone and you're signed in to Google, which you pretty much have to have a Google account to have an Android phone. So you may not know it. You may have a Comcast email address, but you signed up with the phone through a Gmail account. So it's a Gmail account, but it just will say, Mike J at Comcast, but it's still, you're signing in through their ecosystem. So you still have a Google account, even if the end of it doesn't say Gmail. So for example, my email address is datatech11 at Gmail, datatech11 spelled out at Gmail. But if you had, Michael at Comcast.net, or, if I could still sign in to Gmail, and I would still technically have a Gmail account because I'm signing in through their ecosystem. I hope that's not too confusing, but I'm trying my best here to explain in a way that people can understand, in terms of, if you're signed in on each device, it makes everything a lot easier for you to be synced across all the devices. In other words, you're not going to be hunting for something. Well, I was looking at that on my tablet. Where was that again? Well, if you're searching for it on your tablet and you're signed in, and you go back to your phone and you're out to dinner with somebody and you're searching for something, as soon as you start to type what you typed in the search bar with your tablet, you're going to see that on your phone. And so your search results are saved. Now, some people don't like that, and they don't want anybody tracking them. If you don't want anybody tracking you, I wouldn't use Google services. Google, they get all of their money by advertising and and tracking, spending habits and what you do on your line. So I wouldn't use Google services if you don't want to be tracked. If you don't want to be tracked, there's other services like DuckDuckGo and things like that you can use. But again, this video is about Google. And if you embrace it, there's a lot of features that you can use that really are beneficial. And, so it saves your contacts, which then if you had your contacts, even if your phone fell in the lake, because you're signed in to Google, you could just go get another phone, sign in to Google again, and all of your contacts and all of your pictures and literally everything would pretty much be on your phone again. You would still have to log in to the apps and maybe download the apps again. But a lot of times it'll save passwords, save credentials. So again, if you're signed in to Google Chrome and you've saved passwords inside of Google Chrome, then those passwords would save on a tablet so long as you were signed in to Google. And again, I keep saying the word sign in, signed in, signed in, but I really want to drive the point home that if you're signed in on these devices, then it just makes it easier for you to not have to keep typing passwords in over and over and over again. And yes, there is some security issues with having a tablet or phone that somebody can get and then get into and access your stuff. What I would suggest is having a password to get into your phone, period, or to get onto your tablet, period. And then they wouldn't be able to really get to that because they don't know your password to get onto the machine itself, whether it's your computer, tablet, phone. There's really not any real risk on a TV. In a TV environment, all you're really signing into is YouTube as far as Google services. And YouTube, really, there's nothing really to see other than what, so what, somebody sees what you watched on YouTube. That's not really that necessarily that private. So that's about the only thing that is a security breach is, somebody was to come into your bedroom and see what you were watching on YouTube. But that's about it. But you want to be able to see what you were watching on your phone most of the time. And so that's what I got to say. Let me go back and share my screen again, and I may edit some of this. I may not. A lot of times I don't edit because I'd rather just speak my mind, because that's what I do when folks come into my shop. It's been really great having Strawberry Plains, just in totally and completely embrace me. And so, again, I'm thankful for that. And again, here's your Hollywood Squares. Here's all of the different services. Google Play obviously is where you would get your apps if you have a Google device. And again, I'm sure a lot of you know this information, and there's probably information that I'm leaving out. And I encourage you to, if you have things to add that would be useful to the group, certainly add those in the comments, because, I'm not going to be able to think of everything in a short video, but I wanted to make a video. And if you have any questions, certainly you can just direct message me, or you can even just leave them in the comments and I'll get to them. I surf the comments pretty hard on all the content that I post. I feel like it's important to engage the people that I'm posting content for. So I try to do that, quite a bit. But again, Gmail, there's email, and there's, you can add multiple accounts to Gmail. So you could add another account in the settings and have more than just one account. So again, I mean, it's just a matter of what you want to have, and what you want Google to see and what you don't want them to see. Again, if you don't want to use and you want to have a search engine, I think DuckDuckGo is probably, they advertise that they don't track or do anything like that. And there's probably some others that are out there that have surfaced since DuckDuckGo started. I don't know what those are at the top of my head, but you can certainly search for that and find that. And another thing too, on your phone itself, let's stop sharing here and go back. So on your phone itself, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see, but you can actually, on an Android phone, I don't think you're going to be able to see with this little saver. So you can see that little speaker right there. I can click on that. Data Tech 11.
Data Tech 11. Here you are.
So yeah, I'm not being able to really see that very well. But anyway, you can hit that microphone and then pretty much just ask it whatever you want to, So that's great. So for example, who owns YouTube?
YouTube parent organization is Google.
So there you go. So that's what we're talking about. That's what we're discussing. And let me know if you would like me to make another video about an Apple products or Apple products, iPads. And I may do that. I may do a different video, but this was episode 2, and I'm happy to be here. And as many of you know, I have faxing and copying services now. Copies are 15 cents. That's what the library charges. So that's what I'm going to charge. And I'm really happy to be in the Carter, Strawberry Plains area and helping folks out with slow laptops. And, Zach, my technician, he's been great. And we've been plugging right along and selling used laptops. And also we've been selling desktops. And we're also going to get into selling all-in-one machines as well. So we're going to try to have a wide variety of used machines that you can buy that are affordable, because let's face it, not everybody has $800 to go out and drop when their machine starts to act up. So we want to really be here for the community, and we're really the only ones around that, with a brick and mortar in the Carter area. So we're happy to be here, and we're grateful. And until next time, folks, see you later. So here is my smart TV, and I'm going to go over to YouTube and turn YouTube on. And remember, I was talking to you about signing into your smart TV. So you can see that up at the top here, I'm not signed in. So I'm going to go over and sign in. And once I do that, you can see that I've signed in before, and here I am. So if I wasn't signed in, it would just basically give me a link and then allow me to go in there. But what I want to point out is, so now that I'm signed in and there's my picture, and so if I go back to the library, you'll see there's the same video that we was watching earlier. This episode is called 11 Reasons Why. He is a painter that is in Athens, Tennessee. His name is Bill, and I did this interview with him in 2020 when I was first starting over here. And I love interviewing people. I love getting to know people. He's got an interesting story about how he started painting and some of the things that he collects and everything else like that. So I encourage you to check it out.